Hello, welcome to Directly to US episode 18. I am AJ of Redirect is Redirect's podcast. I'm joined by Mega Man of Mega Man VGC on Twitch. He had a cringe name before because McDonald's, Macca's, as he would say.
Maccadees.
We're here to talk about a whole bunch of different stuff. A lot of it is Pokemon, so I figured Mega Man would be a good person to talk about it with. So we're here and we're doing it. But before we get to Pokemon, we're talking about somebody that the gamers somehow even hate more, and they're going to hate them more than they hated them before because they've been sold to Saudi Arabia and other investment firms and stuff. But from how this reads, it sounds like Saudi Arabia is responsible for the lion's share of it. EA has been purchased in an acquisition for $55 billion. And they're taking it private. So they're acquiring it and then they're taking the company private. They're taking on $20 billion of debt to do this. Like the company, which is insane, I think. And I don't know how
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. $20 billion of debt for a private company is insane. $20 billion of debt is insane for any company, but especially a private company. That's nuts. That said, I was curious because I people talk about the Saudi Arabia the fund a lot because they own a lot of things. So I went and I did a little bit more of a deep dive of like what it is, like why. And it's essentially it's propaganda. It's just them buying stuff that people like a lot so that you can be like, well, they're not bad. They own part of Nintendo. You know, it's like they do sports. They can't possibly be bad. So the Public Investment Fund, currently, they have, and this is going to specify if they wholly own it or if it's a joint venture like the Electronic Arts thing, or a stake. So they have a stake in Capcom. They jointly own Electronic Arts. They have a stake in Embracer Group, Hero Esports. They own NCSoft. They have a stake in Nexon. They have a stake in Niantic. They own. Well, that sounds weird. Oh yeah, no, they did. Okay. So they own Niantic now. Nintendo, they have a stake in Scopely, which is the company that is Pokemon Go now. Before it was Niantic, but now they're under Scopely. SNK Corporation, they have a stake in. Steer Studios, they have they own, and Take-Two Interactive, they have a stake in. So like,
it just seems like
for the industry, they either own or have a stake in.
Yeah. And I mean they're also getting into the whole sports side of things as well.
They've been in the sports thing, but
the like more like sports team ownership and things like that. It seems like they're moving that way as well, and it just seems like they're going exactly what you said. Hey, look, we're okay people here. Don't look at us. We're the good guys, and obviously they're very much,
you can't be bad people and own a portion of Mario. It's like okay, bro. All right, brother.
Yeah.
Nasty.
It will be interesting to see. I mean, I think it's going to be one of these. Let's wait and see what they do with EA kind of thing. EA Sports games is kind of where my knowledge is at, being mainly around FIFA and stuff like that. Well, it's now EAFC. And fun fact, this is the first year I have not brought EAFC.
Any reason for that?
I think it's just getting a little bit too repetitive. I don't see that there's been a lot of drastic change enough in what they're doing to keep me entertained, especially in the modes that I play. Like,
is that not their whole thing? I feel like because at least the sports games that I know of, that's like their whole thing is not changing.
Yeah, it's repack skin of teams and things like that. And for me, I'm like, well, I got to really think about like where I spend my money a little bit more, and so. Like, I used to play a lot of Ultimate Team, which is like gambling and buying FIFA cards and things like that. And it got to the point where if you don't keep up with the metagame, you just get so far behind that it's not fun anymore. So then I ended up buying FIFA mainly for like career mode and manager mode. But I've slowly like moved away from that and moving more into like football manager kind of thing. And so it just doesn't seem like it interests me anymore when they're not really taking care of the mode that I'm particularly interested in. Like I do like the updated kits and things like that and the updated roster, and it just takes a lot of time. Like you can do that yourself manually, but you're gonna miss things.
Right.
So it's not too big of a deal for me, but like with this whole takeover, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what exactly drastically changes and whether or not they're just going to be like, you guys continue to do what you do. We're just going to be here in the background and give you money.
And I'm scared of them. I'm scared that they'll change for the better, honestly. I'm more scared that they'll change for the better, because if people, I mean, then it works. You know what I mean? Like the propaganda works. If they're like, oh wait, people don't like y'all, you got to change this reputation of yours. Like we gotta like do more things that the gamers want you to do, and blah blah blah. That's like a double-edged sword, because it's like whatever, like it's cool. Gamers get what they want, right? And it's easy for me to say it's a bad thing because I don't care about any EA franchises. Like I've played EA games, but like it's very easy for me to be like, nah, I'm good, you know, because I don't actively do it. But I could see a world where they are like, yo, everything's better now. We're putting, you want a service game for Madden instead of a new Madden every year, we're doing it. You want us to improve the Ultimate Team modes, we're doing it. You know, it's like. And then people being like, "Oh, EA's a go-to company. I love EA." That's probably the worst case scenario right now, honestly. Because that means you could be right. But I could also, that $20 billion of debt, tied with the fact that people like, it's not like this whole thing is a secret. You know, people see these acquisitions happening in games, and it immediately becomes a major news story, and people get angry about it. So like. It could just get to a point where they're not able to recoup and get to that point, because again, they're taking on $20 billion of debt. So it could just kill EA, which would be not a great thing. Also, on top of that, they might kill, it's going to kill EA in the sense that more layoffs are happening for sure. Absolutely. Because they happen anyway. Like whenever some kind of acquisition like this happens, yeah, but I mean, like with an acquisition, usually bare minimum you're going to see layoffs because of redundancies. But in this case, you're going to see it because of redundancies and because of them trying to lessen the burden of the $20 billion of debt. So that's basically confirmed that they're going to start axing stuff. So it's like, I don't know, maybe that first scenario is less likely, which, you know. Again, two minds on that.
What if that $20 million of debt just suddenly disappears, though? I'm sorry, billion, you're right. Just suddenly disappears.
Yeah, what if it does? What if they reinvest in themselves to get rid of? But I mean, since it's a joint venture, I don't know what the breakdown is. So I don't know if that's worth it to them, you know?
Yeah, that's not been disclosed yet. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it doesn't take into effect until what, 2027 physical year. So we got what, another year or so.
Yeah, we got like a year and a half.
Kind of what changes that looks like.
It's sometime in 2026 that the fiscal year starts. But
it's a little bit too early to say. It'll be interesting to see how it really impacts EA and what it means for those games. I'm not mad at live service games that could just be like, I'll use EAFC as an example. Like make it purely, hey look, just download this patch, $30 or whatever it needs to be to upgrade your game. You get the new kits, new rosters, things like that, and then like slight changes. I mean, even $40 isn't too much. Like as long as you're not paying a full. Like for me, EAFC is 120 New Zealand dollars. So, like, if I had to pay half of that, even 60% of that, like, I wouldn't mind doing that just for like the mode that I really enjoy playing.
I think even if it's, if it's 10% cheaper, It's 10% cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's why for me, I always am like, and that's why I'm sort of like on reception for this, and if they like turn around, because I think gamers are like very easy to please, but they're also like hard to please at the same time. And both of those sides is informed by ignorance. It's like they don't like certain terms like games as a service. They're like, I don't want it to be games as a service because there's examples of that are abused and therefore bad, you know? But there's examples where there's models where we're being abused and like worse, like in the case of sports games, where it's like, okay, you're paying $70 a year on the same video game versus you still playing the same video game, but this time it's like a subscription and you can opt in or opt out or whatever, instead of like buying full products that are going to become obsolete in a couple months.
Yeah.
And they might as well be subscriptions because it's not even like it's a product that holds its value. Like, even worse than most video games, even outside of Nintendo, sports games have terrible value retention.
Yeah.
So it's just like
the only time, like the only time you can really make your money back on sports games, especially if you buy it physically, and you like what I used to do is I used to buy the game physically and then trade it in like a month or so before the new one came out, and I used to get like $20-$30 off the price, which was, you know, but as soon as it comes out, it's like $5 even less than that. It's awful. So like if you want to continue to play the game right up to like release date, you just lose all of that value. And then even afterwards, like,
and
you
people
just
don't
can't
even
do
play
anything
them.
with it. They stop taking it.
People don't play them that long. Like, I don't know how FIFA works in terms of that. Like, I don't know how long the life cycle is for that, because you're the only person I know. You and Wes. But even Wes, I don't really hear him talk about playing FIFA that much. But in my experience with like Madden and 2K and stuff like that, for the most part, most people drop the game outside of the season. Like, once the football or basketball or whatever season ends, people are not playing the game anymore. And I'll say anecdotally with like Wes specifically, I've seen him drop the game even before that. I've seen like 2K like he's like, it's the best game in the world for 3 months and then never touches it again. But also there is the other end of that extreme where it's like, my brother, all he plays is Madden. So like he's the type of person where it's like he's going to buy the like special edition, get it 3 days before that whole thing, and that's somebody that I would be like, yeah, that was worth your money, because he's going to play it from the moment that before it comes out to the moment the next game comes out. But I don't think that's how most people operate. So for most people, it would be a better deal and make more sense, and even for him, obviously, it would be a better deal if it was a subscription model thing. But
yeah, I'm one of those people that will dip in and out of it. With not playing Ultimate Team anymore, like I can jump in and out of it like a career mode really, really easily. Like, I'll have a couple of weeks where I'm like all in, that's all I want to play. I'll do that, like take Man United back to the glory days, and then I get to the point I'm like, I'm done here, go play something else, or something else comes out, or something else takes my attention. And then I might go back and go like, oh, I should do a new career mode, or I want to do this, and then do that for another couple of weeks, and then I bolt again. So like I do feel like I do get the value out of it. Like I don't mind spending the money, because I know over the space of the 12 months, I will get my money back eventually.
right.
But this year, I'm just like, I can wait for it to go on sale. Like, I'm not in a hurry to get it. Like, if I can get it for $70 when it goes on sale, and probably Christmas time, cool, I'll probably pick it up then.
That's fair.
But yeah, but I just have no
Another thought that I
reason
had
to pick it up.
in terms of Nintendo specifically is they have a stake in Nintendo. EA has a history of not putting their games on Nintendo platforms. I can see a world where they're like, yo, more games on Nintendo platforms. Nintendo Switch 1 at the very least, 150 million units. Switch 2 very likely to be within the like 80 to 100 million units sold, if not more, when all things are said and done. I could very easily see them be like, more of them, port more games to Switch.
Yeah.
Which I'm of two minds on.
I think we've talked about this previously.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen anyway.
The Sims seems like the most opportune game for Switch, and even for the Switch 2.
Right.
Like the touchscreen would be perfect, the portability would be perfect. Like that kind of a game just seems.
Even the control mechanisms are perfect, and now that
with the mouse
I was going to say, even because before it was like the original Switch, it was like touchscreen. You know, playing it portable would be that would be pretty good. But now, even on the when you're docked, you got mouse mode. So the Sims is perfect for a Switch. So it's right there. I don't know if I don't know,
and even to a point,
I don't know if it ever came, because I know they have a console version. I don't know if The Sims came to the original Switch or not.
I don't think it did.
I think we just have My Sims or whatever it's called. Yeah, My Sims.
Yeah, and even to a point, like Battlefield would be relatively good. For the Switch.
I don't know if Battlefield.
Like we talk about COD and things like that. But
I could see Battlefield. Like Battlefield should, but the I think the bottleneck there is. Battlefield is one of those games that is just poorly optimized. Like it's a game that in theory could work on Switch 2, but it wouldn't because they don't know how to develop games well. So it's just like, nah, probably not. But I mean, maybe that's 2029. That's one of the things that they exert their pressure on, or it's like, again, we have a stake in this company. We want more EA ports on the company. I mean, for that company. So
I don't know. Sims seems like an easy one for me. An easy way to make money. I think there would be a lot of people that would move from PC to Switch or whatever just to play Sims.
Sims is the easy win. I think a lot of things that happens with these acquisitions is also legacy IP. Rears its head again because they're like, 100%. Oh, y'all own these gold mines of IP nostalgia. You know, people love that kind of stuff. So
bring back the Lord of the Rings games. They were EA, I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that, but they'll probably just make new ones, honestly, for stuff like that.
No,
bring OG Roller Coaster Tycoon.
The Return of the King game was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it was EA Games. Did the Lord of the Rings games? They're great.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bring those back.
I've heard that, but I have no. Well, I do have an opinion on Lord of the Rings. I actively dislike it. Nerd stuff. I don't curse on this podcast.
Yeah. Nerd stuff. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trev, I agree. They were good games. They were great games.
I don't know, man.
But that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, I don't really care about EA. I think this is scary. But you know, it's also like it's only scary outside of games. Like it's the kind of thing where it's like I don't think that within games they're like an active threat. It's just a threat to the way people think, and that's scary.
Yeah,
you know. Like, it's not the same thing as, like, a company being owned by a CEO that's, like, a bad like Bobby Kotick, like that kind of thing. It's not that same thing in that way, especially when it's, like, them owning a percentage. But it's bad because it does achieve their goal of, like, making them look good to people that are stupid. And that's unfortunate.
Propaganda.
Yeah. But that's all the thoughts I got on EA, too. If anybody's more informed and has anything to add, feel free to add them in the comments, and I'll add that context next week, probably. But in more corporate news, Nintendo had a lot of executive shakeups at Nintendo of America because Doug Bowser is leaving. So they got a
big man himself.
They got a new interim. Well, they're not describing it as an interim CEO, but if this is anything like the last time they got a new CEO, it's probably going to be an interim CEO. And they got a new president. The current CEO right now, or when this shift happens, is wait, I need to find his name. It's Satoru Shibata, who has a long history at Nintendo at various positions. He used to be the CEO of Nintendo of Europe, and he had a position I think at Nintendo of America a long time, like before Nintendo of Europe, and I think he also had a position at Pokemon Company, if I'm not wrong. But Devin Pritchard, I think is how you say that, is the president, and I would assume who they're priming to be the next CEO once everything's all figured out, once the transition happens and stuff like that, right? There's a weird thing that happens with Nintendo specifically, and it's because of Iwata, which is not, I don't say that negatively on him, but people see Nintendo CEOs very parasocially. Like it's weird, and it's so weird because like the discourse that gamers have around, I posted something about this on I might have posted it on Blue Sky and Twitter. But it's weird because it's like you'll have everybody in the Nintendo community crying about corporate greed and suing like pirates and all that other kind of stuff, right? And then they'll mourn the loss of their precious CEO. It's like them being like, "Yo, does our new corporate overlord play Pikmin?" Like, I think that's so strange to me, and I don't know. Yeah. I rest somewhere firmly in the middle, where I'm like, a job is a job is a job, especially in this area where it's like we're talking about video games. So like to me, it's just like, yo, you're a corporate executive. And I don't hate you for that because you work at a toy company. It's not like you're BP or whatever. But I also am not gonna like pretend that you're my best friend. You know what I mean? I don't care if you like Pikmin or not.
I think it's also because like since I've really like gotten into the gaming sphere, circa 2019, it feels like the Nintendo president has always been someone that's really active in the social scene of things. And people are like, oh my God, he's my best friend because he plays Pikmin or whatever game that you associate with, and being like, they're capital G gamer style of people. And they're so like approachable and impressionable. And then all of a sudden, like they go and they're like, oh my God, my best friend's leaving my favorite company.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, like you said, they separate the two people quite a lot. So it will be interesting to see what happens in terms of this change and in terms of like you said, priming potentially Devin to be the new CEO and how that works, because from what I read and understand, she's not a capital G gamer, so whether or not people associate her the same way as they do with the likes of Reggie, and to a point people just memed Doug Bowser because of his name.
Yeah, but also because like it's like we're phasing away from like what people deified Iwata from, because it was like Iwata, it was like capital G gamer who made video games, and then Reggie was like, I wouldn't even necessarily call him a capital G gamer, but he played games, he was up on the stuff, he was fighting Hungrybox and Smash Brothers. He didn't win, but he tried. He knew who Hungrybox was. And then you have Doug Bowser, who's like, he plays games every once in a while. He's gonna try the big ones and be like, well, my Mario Kart main is this, right? And now you have Devin, who, like, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like she's familiar with games and she'll play games every once in a while, but it's through the context of her kids. It's like, oh, yeah, we play Mario Kart. Fine, I'll play with you. But she's not going to, pick up the latest Metroid game, so she's up on it. Like maybe Reggie would. And Iwata would know how the video game was made while he's playing it, So there's that. And then it's also like people are like looking into like where she came from, like where her background is, and it sounds like, as far as Nintendo is concerned, for the majority of her time with Nintendo, she had a marketing related position, but she has a law degree. So there's a lot of people running with the narratives that it's like, well, we don't like Nintendo for the lawsuits. This is her fault, and they're going to get worse now. It's like, if anything, for everything, and I say this like, grain in the salt and all that other kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
everything I know about Nintendo of America specifically, because of the fact that it is America, they know the reputation that they have, and they actively fight Nintendo of Japan, or NCL. They don't call themselves Nintendo of Japan. They fight them on stuff like that, on the quote unquote anti-consumer, like what we call that, practices that they do. When Nintendo is like, no, we don't think we want to have Smash tournaments, Nintendo of America was the one that made it happen, where it's like, no, this will be good for us, we swear. So I don't know if that is the narrative that we should be running with. I think that like Nintendo of America has some sway. Like they definitely have all seat at the table, but they're not making the decisions in the way that these narratives would suggest. And it's just like, this might change some stuff. It might be a little different.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to be night and day.
Yeah, her resume covers a lot, though. It's not just having the law degree. Like, she's worked in finance within the company and things like that. So I think like having a grand overview of...
That's why she's
multiple different
CEO.
Yeah. And I think that can only be good things for the company, because you can be like, well, I've seen how this department works. I've seen how that works. Like, I understand law, so I understand things I can and can't do. So like there's obviously positives around that, but there also could be negative connotations around that.
As far as Nintendo is concerned, it's a huge positive. It's a huge positive for them. But for the parasocials, it's an L, because she's more corporate than any other CEO that we've had in that regard. Granted, they're all corporate. They're CEOs. You can't not be corporate and be a CEO.
Their job is to literally be corporate. Their job is to carry on making the company money, so they can continue doing what they do and then better what they do. It's just, there's a lot of companies out there where when you hear a CEO, they make the company money
and bad
and then
ways.
Don't do the second part.
Right. And also there's because it's both sides. It's really nuanced. It's really nuanced in the sense that, like, she's a corporate, she's an executive at the end of the day, but she's not an executive at an American company. She doesn't work for EA. It's not this like pump and dump kind of situation where she's working at this company to build up a whole bunch of stock rewards and walk out with a golden parachute for $150 million. She might, in her entire like life of the company, maybe make like $10 million for the life of her time there. And I kind of doubt that, honestly, because like Shigeru Miyamoto makes less than $3 million a year. That's Miyamoto. That brother, if it was an American company, he would be Steve Jobs. Not even Steve Jobs is a bad example. He would be Tim Cook. He would be a multi-billionaire. But that's just not how Nintendo is structured. Like, their money is like the majority of the money that they make sits there in case of rainy day. They're like, break if Wii U, break glass if Wii U, break glass if Virtual Boy. But outside of that, they're not like, spending their money on corporate vacations and like lining their CEO's pockets. Hoarding wealth is another conversation in and of itself, but it's objectively not as bad. It's not good. Yeah. They're not our friend, but it's not bad. Or as bad.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, exactly.
Pros and cons.
Yes. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if anything changes in a positive or negative way. You got any other thoughts on the Nintendo executives?
Nah.
All right.
I mean, the change will happen. We'll see the change, and we'll judge the change on its merits when we see what happens. I mean, that's all you really can do.
Yeah, because like, and the thing is, like, we can't even really do that because we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
That's true too.
We don't know what they're personally responsible for. Like, a lot of people would attribute, like, the Switch to Furukawa because he was the CEO during its life, like of the company, like of Nintendo overall, right? But Iwata had a lot to do with Nintendo Switch. So it's just like how much of the like decisions that are being made by her are what or that will be made by her or what we'll see directly. And how many of those things were like in motion before she became CEO and vice versa. And that's for better or worse. You know, it's like people will blame her for things that could very well not be her fault. And they could give her credit for things that could very well not be something that she spearheaded, you know? That's how corporations work.
Yeah. You see the name at the top and you go, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Positively or negatively.
Yes. And I mean, I think when it's the case of a Furukawa, kind of you can do that more. You could do that more when it's like the lead of the company overall, because at the very least you got veto power. You could be like, nope, we're not doing that. But also that doesn't mean that everything that's positive is something that's up that. So it's kind of negative. Like in that regard, it's all blame, and that when you're at the top of the top in a structure like this, because like the idea might be attributed to you, good or bad, but at the end of the day, we can learn in the future that it's like, oh no, this person came up with that idea. But even when it's a bad idea and somebody else came up with it, you could have said no, so you're complicit. You know what I mean? Like, so like I don't know, but with Nintendo of America specifically, it goes on the other end where it's like, well, it's Nintendo of America, man. Like I could only do but so much. I could try to say don't do this, but they get to say yes or no. So again, we'll never know. We'll never know, good or bad, unless she gets ousted. If she gets ousted, then we know she was terrible for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But outside of that, it will have no impact on our lives as Nintendo consumers. Just like Dragon Arbor in chat, Nate. He said, just like Reggie with Mother 3, I still think it is not purely Reggie's fault and never came here. People just pointed the finger at him. Yeah. That's what it is.
It's the name to point a finger at because it's not necessarily his decision, but it's the easy one to point at.
Yeah, because he could have, again, Nintendo of America, he could have very well went to Nintendo and been like, yo, America wants Mother 3. And Nintendo's like, nah, we're good off that. They got the KKK in that game. I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? They're the blue KKK.
Yeah,
but you know, it's pretty clear all the potential controversies that exist in that game. And I think Nintendo is very, at least in this regard, very controversy adverse. And that transitions into the next topic pretty easily. The Pokemon Company, the Ice in America. I don't know how much you know about this whole situation going on.
I know enough, and I'm just
the Orange Man being the Orange Man, being racist and kicking people out of the country because he's racist. They posted, you know, they're getting very memey. That's like a right wing thing, is like being a meme lord, and they're like steering into that skid. So with that, they posted a video where it's like ICE propaganda, where it's like, we're gonna catch them all, we're gonna get all the immigrants, they gotta get out of our country. They used Pokemon imagery and music from the Pokemon anime. So everybody's freaking out about that, and everybody's like, yo, Pokemon Company, sue them. And this illustrates the dichotomy of the Nintendo fan, where it's like, yo, sue them. Go, they're using your IP. Get your IP lawyers in the courtroom now. So they made a statement. And this statement has caused just as much controversy, which I think is stupid. But they made a statement where they said, we are aware of a recent video posted by the Department of Homeland Security that includes imagery and language associated with our brand. Our company was not involved in the creation or distribution of this content, and permission was not granted for the use of our intellectual property. That's the end of the quote. And people are angry at this statement, because they're like, yo, where's the cease and desist? Where's the lawsuit? how come you sue the friggin' Pokemon ROM hack guy, but you're not suing the United States government? And my response to that is there was like somebody that like used to work at Pokemon Company, or at least was like legal counsel for them. And he said that if it was him, he wouldn't pursue it because of the fact that a lot of Pokemon Company people are on green cards and they don't want to put themselves at risk and blah blah blah. And people took that statement and ran with it. They were like, "Oh, well, that's cowardly. They should do it anyway." Blah 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 and all that other crap. I have no opinion one way or the other on whether or not they should or shouldn't, risk that or not. But my thing is, like, we don't know that they didn't do anything. Like, cease and desist are almost always quiet. Usually the people that blow the spot up are the people that, and that's assuming that they're even allowed to do that. But that's who it is. It's the gamers. It's the people being like, yo, fellow gamers, I want to evangelize you. They told me to not make my thing. But
yeah,
I could have easily told the government, yo, chill, cut it out.
I mean,
and they could be preparing a lawsuit.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we in New Zealand don't just go around suing people, so I don't know the process a lot around what that looks like. But I can imagine if you're going to sue a government department, you have to make sure that, one, you do it right and you're very particular about exactly what you're doing, and you can't just go around and be like, I'm going to sue you.
Yeah.
Like a company as big as the Pokemon Company going to sue a government department will need to make sure that they know exactly what they're suing, how they're going to do it, what the repercussions around doing that could potentially be, not only for them but also for the department that they're actually suing, and whether or not it is actually feasible to go through that process. And then even then, that legal process could take ages.
It could take forever. Like the example that I gave is Power World. Right, when Power World came out, it was a very similar trajectory. When it first came out, ironically enough, people were very loud, and most of them were Pokemon fans. I mean, like, this is a Pokemon ripoff. They should sue them. That's crazy. Why are they not suing them? And then like 2 months into the game being out, they did. They sued them. What I mean? So it's like, if it takes them a couple months to sue a company like Pocket Pair, it's absolutely going to take them a while to sue the United States government, if they will at all, because they might not. Who knows?
I think the statement that they wrote, it's very corporate and PR-y, which is fine. It needs to be there. Like, you can't just come out on social media from a legal point of view if you're saying something like this and being like, that was dumb, we hate that,
F
we
that
hate
orange.
you.
That's what they wanted to
Exactly. They can't do that. Like, they just can't. Like, they have to be corporate. They have to make sure that their responses are very limited and concise around what they're actually doing. It doesn't mean that in the background, like you said, we don't know what they're doing. They could be prepping something. They could be doing like what I said and just making sure that if they are going to do this, that their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed.
Right.
Because they have to.
Literally. And the other part of it for me is like, if they weren't going to do anything, why say anything? If you're just going to let it slide, why even make that statement?
Sure.
If you're scared of the Orange Man will get mad at that tweet. He's like, how dare the Pokemon Company?
He hasn't. He gets mad at everything else.
Yeah, they might as well have sued him. As far as his track record says, like any sort of dissent, that brother is pissed. So I'm just like, if they were like in his pocket, like people are trying to assume or assert, I don't even think they make the statement that they did. And the argument that people are trying to make to that is like, well, they got so many statements, but you know how many people complain about them going after ROM hacks and all that other kind of crap, and they still do it anyway? I just gamers is just ignorant to the majority of what is happening, and that's evidenced by the fact that like there are literal tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of ROM hacks and mods and all this other kind of crap that exist and are very public, but they don't get taken down. And it's not because Nintendo or Pokemon Company is ignorant of them. They know they exist. They just know the copyright. They know copyright law, and they know that it's like, all right, is this a risk to our copyright? If we let this slide,
with content creators who actively play these ROM hacks.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And as far as I know, like, because again, I've worked with Pokemon Company in the past. I don't do ROM hacks and emulation and all that stuff specifically. That's a personal thing. But like the Nuzlocke thing, people assume that like, oh, they won't work with you because you do. Well, broadly, they weren't saying this to me specifically. But it's like, oh, they won't work with you because you do Nuzlocks, and it's like, no, I've always done Nuzlocks, and I've worked with Pokemon Company several times.
Yeah.
So what's that? And it's not like I'm quiet about it. That's most of, well, not right now, but it was most of my content for a few years of like, we went from Nuzlocke to Nuzlocke. We went to the Pokemon Sword and Shield Nuzlocke, to the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Nuzlocke, to the one where the Pokemon couldn't be taught moves, you know? Like, I've done several Nuzlocks and they got no problem with that. The thing is, they, as a corporation that makes a product for children, don't want to publicly be like, yo, let's everybody on our public YouTube channels kill our Pokemon. Like, what? You know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can name you several content creators that have just recently gone on a PR trip to Paris that actively do Nuzlocks and play ROM hacks and multiple different variations of the Pokemon IP that theoretically aren't with them, and they're like, cool, we don't mind.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care about that.
They exist.
Yeah, they know they exist. Yeah. They don't care about that. What they care about is being a risk to their IP, or being a risk to their IP, whether that be like legally, whether that be the perception within their target audience. That's what they care about. They're not like trying to make gamers sad. They're just like, yo, it's a bigger problem for us to have our property that is supposed to be for everyone be associated with this very specific negative, edgy, whatever thing. Which, you know, that often coincides with gamers. It turns out that cringe people like cringe things. So like, of course, that it feels like gamers are like under attack because it's like everything I like they go after, and it's like, yeah, there's probably a reason for that, and I don't think it's just because they're a corporation. But yeah, I don't know, and maybe they are being scared, and that would suck. Period. You know, like that's the extent of how I feel about that. I'm not really up in arms about it either way.
Yeah.
All right. On the topic of Pokemon, there's been Pokemon Legends EA previews that have been happening. You mentioned it in the lawsuit thing. A lot of different influencers went to Paris and played the video game.
Yes.
You're a big Pokemon fan. You like
nah, I don't like Pokemon. What makes you think I like Pokemon?
You like Pokemon gameplay, man. How do you feel about this game? I don't know if we talked extensively about it because, like, you know how I feel. I'm ecstatic about the concept of them experimenting and trying new things. And that's been the perspective that I've seen broadly. I think that's mostly true. But people within the Pokemon community specifically, there's definitely a contingent of people that are like actively like against it, or at very least apprehensive of it. So where do you fall on that as far as like Legends EA specifically is concerned?
I am very excited to see how this all works out. Watching through the preview footage that have come out, obviously they're still being very selective on what they put out and how it looks and everything like that, which I'm fine with.
It doesn't even sound like they are, to be honest. Like, the coverage for sure, but it sounds like they just been letting people play the game. Like,
Yeah. What I'm talking about is it's very, hey, look, this is what these wild zones look like throughout the day. This is what it looks like at
oh yeah,
nighttime,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then this
Right, right,
is
right, right.
the mega battles of things. So
Mhm.
selective from that avenue, being like, this is,
This is the aspect of the
I would
game that we
probably
want you to
say,
talk about right
yeah,
now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. This is, I think, will be probably the core gameplay loop of it is catching, building your team, daytime, nighttime is battle focus, and then the mega evolution part is probably something to do with the storyline and just additional
Yeah,
stuff
you
that
get to
can
a
do.
certain grade. It's like a new mega
Yeah,
evolution has appeared in the town. Blah blah blah.
yeah. And I just think it looks good. Like,
I agree.
I think a lot of our concern was the fact that it's all happening in Lumiose City, and like how big can you really make it? I mean, you can make a city as big as you want it
To
to
be
be.
fair, I never
Like
was concerned
the
about
only
that personally.
I know you weren't. I'm talking general
Like the Pokemon,
consensus
yeah,
of people.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like we go, well, Lumiose City we've only seen on effectively the 3DS and what it could look like from that aspect.
Yeah.
You can make a city as big as small as you want it to be.
Yeah.
Like, think about cities in real life. Cities are huge. Like they're either big or they're really small.
I think that's a big part of it, especially within the Pokemon community, where it's like their perspective is largely informed by Pokemon video games, and very specifically, the mainline Pokemon video games, right? So that's how they view the city. That's the canonical city. But even look at look at Pallet Town in the anime versus Pallet Town in the video game. Professor Oak's
Town in the video game has like 5 houses, 4 houses.
And Professor Oak's lab in the anime is like bigger, like significantly bigger than any version of Pallet Town in the video games alone. You know, like the thing is, like, he has this sprawling like multi-acre land lab. And as far as we know, like, the way they talk about it, everybody in like all the trainers that come from Pallet Town can send their Pokemon to Professor Oak. We've only seen Ash's Pokemon, so as far as we know, that his land could be like 5 times as big as what they actively show on the anime. So like, you can easily scale these towns and these cities and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that it's going to be scaled that much, like to that degree. But it'll definitely be a lot bigger than people were assuming it was going to be. I always felt that,
and it's multi-layered.
Yeah.
So there's rooftops and sewer access. So it's not only just what we're seeing on top; it's what's underneath, and we haven't
even seen everything on top.
Or underneath. We've seen like little
I was about to say, have we seen
underneath.
anything?
We don't even know what's under there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if we've seen any uninterrupted gameplay on.
There was. I don't think we've seen gameplay of underneath. They have said that there is sewer gameplay or access underneath. That it is multi-layered. But the only thing that we've literally seen of the underneath was little clippets of, I think you see Noibat and a couple of other Pokemon that are just like under there. I have it's very, very small clippet of it. So not only do we have potentially a big city to play around in, we've got the rooftops and underneath and whatever else the underneath can potentially consist of. So that's really cool. I'm liking how the environment can be used to block stuff. To block moves. Like, you can use the cars, you can use the trees, you can use the stalls, you can use little planter bush things that are around. Like, it's exactly what you've been asking for these last years. Like, make things interactive and like the environment feel like you're actually in there.
It's
and then obviously
as far as what I want is I want I want them to, like, you run behind a tree and they use slash on the tree and you cut the tree down, and if you didn't angle your slash right, it might backfire. You might get hit by the tree, and then you take damage because of, that kind of thing. Like, it's not fully there, but it's definitely like a good like indication of where they could go.
Small steps.
Yeah. And I mean, it's and I don't want to diminish it. That's not my intent. I just bring that up to say I think a lot of people are like viewing ZA as like this make or break moment for what I've been saying for a really long time, where it's like, well, if this doesn't work,
not.
then
Yeah.
that wouldn't work, and it's like no, because Arceus, as far as I'm concerned, was closer to what I wanted at the time, but that didn't work, and that didn't change my opinion at all. In fact, it made me think it even more because like if people like the version of that I think is bad, imagine the one that like is better than that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even like it's not like it's a difference of opinion in the sense that people just like different things than me in this regard. It's just that people were happy with less. In the same way that like, you know, I've had conversations in the past on this podcast of like Pokemon in general, right? Where like there's the casual fan that they're happy with as long as they have a good time playing through the campaign and getting all their badges and blah, blah, blah. That's not them liking different things. That's just them being happy with less. Because I too like the campaign. But I also want to be able to engage with the rest of the game. Like literally, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he was asking me about the every once in a while he'll be like, "Yo, Pokemon, when's Pokemon coming out?" And I'm like, "Oh, it'll come out next month." And then he's like asking about the game, and he didn't like Arceus either. And it has nothing. I've never even had a conversation with him in terms of like why I don't like it or anything like that. But he doesn't like it because a lot of what he likes about Pokemon is those like intangible things of like I like the trainer's journey, I like building my team, I like blah blah. And Arceus gutted a lot of that. So for him, it was like, well, that's not a Pokemon game because they gutted that. And people in the Pokemon community talk about Pokemon games as if Pokemon games are their gameplay, but I'd argue Pokemon games are their world. In the same way that every other long-running franchise, that's the case. It's like the thing that makes the game is the world, its characters, its themes, its lore. Everything else is negotiable and can and should change with time and standards and technology and so on and so forth. And there will be casualties. There will be people that don't like the thing and they feel like they've been left out of the game and blah blah blah. I think it's a necessary casualty.
I agree,
and I think you're like a direct example, and that's why I always thought it was funny that we kind of butt heads on this part of it, like the VGC thing, because like you're a direct example of that, where it's like Zelda. Yes. You're a direct example of somebody that did not, to my understanding, you never beat a Zelda game before Breath of the Wild, or you just didn't really like them or really play them. Which one? Which of those?
I Breath of the Wild was the first Zelda game I played. I beat it. I had a great time. I was very excited for Tears of the Kingdom. Still haven't beat Tears of the Kingdom. And that's mainly because I really enjoyed the game and I kind of don't want it to end.
That's where I was. I used Switch 2 as my excuse to beat Tears of the Kingdom. I was like,
that's such, I'll get there.
It's a good reason. I had fun.
But yeah, you're right. Like, I did try and play because you kind of got no reason not to. The other ones through the Nintendo 64. No, can't do it.
And that's just what it is, right? Because it's like, and the problem with Pokemon specifically is because they have this whole like smog of it's the biggest IP in the world, right? So a lot of people use that as a scapegoat, where it's like, well, it's the biggest IP in the world, and that's why. It's because everybody likes the gameplay like I do, and it's like, no, it's not, and that's why. Like I used to talk about that a decent amount in my videos in a positive way, but I came to a point where I was like, it's not a. I mean, it's a positive thing in the sense that there's a lot of potential for them to leverage that, but it's not a positive thing in the context of these videos and stuff like that, because people just use it as a like a bargaining chip in an argument to be like, well, the game is perfect because look how successful it is. And it's like, nah, that's not how this works, because Zelda was successful. There was no Zelda game that failed, but they still were like, we don't like the fact that people have negative like ideas of the direction of Zelda right now. And it was really just a groundswell. It was really just people mostly on the internet being like, man, the Zelda formula whack. Man, Skyward Sword sucked. You know, like all that stuff, right? These games still sold millions of units and they never were like huge market leaders or anything like that. But again, they never were. So the fact that it had that sustained success and they still said, we need to blow this up and change it.
Yeah.
To me says a lot about where Nintendo's head is, especially. Like, they don't just and Pokemon Company has confirmed that they feel similarly, and like directly. Before it was like a suggestion. Before, to me, it was like, okay, they're really doubling down on this Breath of the Wild imagery with every trailer that they've released since Breath of the Wild came out. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Right. But then relatively recently, Ishihara had an interview, or a few interviews, where they were talking about like the anniversary and like, well, if we want Pokemon to last 100 years, then it needs to evolve and so on and so forth. And it's like, well, okay, so that's them saying it plainly, that they too think that Pokemon needs to be more than what it currently is, and it can't remain the same. And I think that them doing stuff like ZA is it's a good sign. Child sighting.
Yep, sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
Watch the video podcast.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think with the separation of VGC, Pokemon is now able to kind of go in a direction that they probably have wanted to take it in probably a while. And Arceus was probably the first time they teased the idea of going, okay, this is what Pokemon could potentially look like. And so I'm really excited for ZA because, one, it's going to be a whole different gameplay loop. It's going to be a different battling style, and I'm excited to learn a different battling style because it's going to make you rethink
how you think
what moves
Pokemon
do, how they work, how you use them, and how you can win stuff. And I think I'm actually really excited for the PvP.
Yeah, same.
I think
that's what I'm the most excited about,
and really competitive. Yeah.
I'm also excited that I can still play
traditional VGC.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm not excited about that personally, but I will. Yeah, I'll play Champions, I guess. But I'll say,
like, Champions for me, and as like we can talk about this at a later date, around when we know way more about what we do and we've actually
we'll revisit this after you play the game for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like, if this is how Gen 10 is going to be, but it's refined even further, I think Pokemon will just gain a huge new different fan base, because it takes traditional RPG elements, of action RPG elements, that will make this a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It will be really interesting to see how they could potentially incorporate like the likes of double battles and things like that into it.
Yeah, that's something I was
moment in
thinking
time.
about. I was like, I don't know how you do that right now.
Yeah, I just don't know how you do that. And then does that mean,
granted, I don't think you're
potentially limiting yourself?
I don't think they need to. I think the thing about double battles is that was the solution for the problem of turn-based battles being, and especially in the way that they existed at the time, lacking depth and being less interesting. So they added they added double battles to add complexity. But with action games, you don't need to do that. And it still doesn't preclude them from doing multi-battles if they wanted to still have like the 2v2 Pokemon thing. Like, they could still do that. And there could also be like some version of double battles where like you control your characters in less direct ways, or you're just tasked with like switching between them a lot more, where it's like almost like how a lot of action RPGs that have party members, like you can directly, like Tales of games do this a decent amount, where like you have other party members and you control, like it's an action game, so you control the people directly, but you can't control all of them at once. So the ones that you aren't controlling, you give like directives of like, I want you to prioritize these kind of attacks or this kind of strategy or this kind of positioning, and just control who you're on. And if you need them specifically for something, you switch to them. Or like sports games. Sports games are another good example where it's like you're controlling a whole team of people. You're only controlling one person at a time. You give your team overall like broad instructions, but for the most part, you can only control one person at once, right?
Sure.
I don't see why they couldn't do that same thing if they wanted to do double battles still, but like them wanting to do double battles would be different. It would be for a different reason.
You know what? That's actually not a bad idea though. Hold on, let me just think. Like you said, smart enough AI that it knows I am a Talonflame, and you've got a Pikachu out there, let's say for example, and you're fighting a water type and a grass type. Like the Talonflame just like, and you're actively controlling the Pikachu, but Talonflame just AI knows that I should be using fire type or flying type attacks on the grass type, not on the water type kind of thing, and being able to be like, just focus on a Bulbasaur.
And you could even do it in ways that are like less RPG in the sense that like you don't got to get deep in the systems or nothing like that, but you could just like literally the way you order your moves, the 4 moves that you have, I want you to use the moves at the top more than you use the moves at the bottom, you know, unless obvious exceptions happen where it's like if Thunderbolt's up top and there's a ground type Pokemon on the screen, then prioritize doing the attack under that first one that's not electric, or prioritize do it like this will probably be more of a like more something that's direct, like more RPG-y. Yeah. But like in this battle, I want you to prioritize status moves, or you know, like that kind of thing. Or you could even do it where like you give your Pokemon roles, where it's like, okay, you're a support Pokemon, so when you're controlling them, you can do whatever you want. But when the AI controls them, the AI prioritizes doing things that support moves do. And if they wanted to simplify it even further for kids, it could just be like they could color code moves or give them different symbols. Yeah. Like this is a support move, this is a, you know, an attacker move, a defender move, so on and so forth. I think there's a lot of ways that they could do that.
The response that you heard from most people who have actively played the games is that like you have to use supporting moves a lot more than what you think you do, which means that you have to be really smart about the moveset that you effectively pick.
Which I'm ecstatic about personally.
Yes.
Because
like actively having to think strategy through an actual gameplay is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's going to scratch that itch when you play through a game normally, like Scarlet and Violet, for example. I didn't use strategy. There was a couple of times I had to use strategy because, like, for example, those Starmobiles can be a bit of a pain in the ass if you're not at the right level, or you've got weaknesses and things like that. Like they can provide a little bit of a challenge. So sometimes having an actual little bit of a strategy can be helpful depending on the team that you use. Those were the only things that really gave me trouble in the playthroughs. Whereas like this, it sounds like and looks like you really have to think about the Pokemon that you use. Like type advantage isn't necessarily going to be enough. And that is awesome.
Yeah, because you can't do the thing in the main games where like even people that are good TM at the video game, you just default to having a move. You know, like in this matchup, this is my move. I'm doing this one, and maybe it's 2 moves if you're playing a human. You know, it's like use this move and then use this move. But in this game, you literally can't do that because the move that you use has a cooldown. So it's like, all right, well, I would just spam flamethrower, but I can't. What am I going to do in between the times when I can't use flamethrower? So you're like kind of even if you aren't thinking about the additional strategy of like, well, I should like use flamethrower, and then in between the times when that's charging up, maybe I use freaking Calm Mind so I can increase the power of flamethrower next time I do it and do that whole loop, right? and whatever other things they want to put in, like throughout that. Bare minimum, you have to think about that, right? But the people that are going to take it even further, it's like, okay, well, how do I optimize that? How do I optimize my cooldowns? What's the best move set that I can have that at all times I'm doing the most damage, I'm giving my Pokemon the best stat advantage, I'm receiving the least amount of damage? How do I do that? You know?
Yeah. The other cool thing that I noted throughout the preview stuff was that you can utilize the Mega Energy on every Pokemon to power up their moves.
Yeah, so they have the plus moves.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. So, it kind of brings in the element that actually having a full Mega Evolution meter is actually really important, because if you are in a bit of a pickle, you can, and you don't have a Mega Evolution available, and you've got the ability to use those. Is it called plus moves? I think
they're called plus moves.
Called, right?
I think they're called plus moves, yeah.
Like, being able to use a plus move in a pinch could be the difference between winning or losing a battle, especially by the sounds of it, with the amount of like alpha Pokemon that are running around and their levels are all over the place.
And there's an additional layer of strategy to that too. It, you know, ironically, the funny thing is, the fight that people have when you talk about action-based Pokemon games, like, just make it a fighting game. This kind of makes this game a fighting game. And I mean like a traditional fighting game, where it's like in Street Fighter, a lot of times you got to juggle of like, do I want to do my level 1? Do I want to do my level 2 and take 2 bars a meter? Do I want to do my level 3? Yeah. That's kind of what this is. It's like, there's only 2 levels to it. It's like, do I want to do, as far as we know, do I want to do my level 1 and take a little bit of my bar and not be like sacrifice my ability to Mega Evolve? Or do I want to wait? Because then I can just do all plus moves, because when you're Mega Evolved, all your moves are plus moves. And then it'll be for however long that meter lasts or whatever, right? Which is another interesting layer to the game I think they added. And I don't even know, is there more layers? I don't fully get how movement really works. I think I haven't really seen anybody that's good at movement yet. I'm excited to either see or become good at. I think that would be the most satisfying thing about the video game, is being like, you're never hitting me. You're not going to hit me.
I'm going to be so fast and so good at movement that you will never touch me.
That would be so sick. Like, imagine people doing Legends ZA no hit runs. That would be so sick.
Oh
wow. My God, that would be.
That is so.
Like,
that's such a good idea.
You could do so much cool stuff. Like, I swear, if this gameplay feels good, like, I got a lot out of Scarlet and Violet. Like, I played a lot of different ways with even that game, right? I did the Soul Link, I did the Nuzlocke, I love like thinking of, like, in the Pokemon community at large, they do it in a like way more glacial way. But Pokemon fans, they like thinking of different ways to play games, that Nuzlocks, you know, so on and so forth, right? I think there's going to be even more, because like, you could still do the Nuzlocke thing, you could still do Soul Links, right? But on top of that, you can do like, I'm doing an Ash run. I'm just playing this entire game with Pikachu, and like, I'm gonna outskill my opponent. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just the thing of like, well, I'm gonna play this whole thing with Pikachu, and that means that my Pikachu is going to be 10 levels higher than everybody else, and that's how I win, right? You can't even do it like that.
If type advantage isn't going to be like, it will.
It sounds like it's a thing for sure, but
it's not going to be. There's a grass type in front of me. I use fire move automatically KOs.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We move on, kind of a thing. Like, it feels and looks and sounds like it will help, but if you're not good at what you do and how you battle, a fire type can still beat a water type.
It might still cook you.
It still might cook you. People were saying, like, in the and this might skip forward a little bit, but when you go to rank up, you play a champion rank up battle. I don't know if there's an actual name for it yet, but we'll call it a rank up battle. And people were saying that. I can't remember what it is either. People were saying that their water type was getting beaten by the Simisear.
Mm-hmm.
And that they were like, well, I think water beats fire, so I just use, I think it was a Staryu that they were using.
Yeah.
Like, my Staryu was losing to a Simisear. Like, that shouldn't happen. It's just like, well...
So that's the thing, right?
You really...
I think a lot of people, the way that they're talking about it is like, type advantage doesn't matter. It does matter. Still, it's just it's a balanced amount of mattering. It's like before, it's like you could just autopilot. You could be like, rock beats scissors, and that's just the end of it. But in this game, it's like, my scissors, I can avoid your rock, and I'm gonna chip away at your rock, because if you can't hit me with your rock, who cares about your, like that kind of thing, right? And like levels is still a thing, and like that whole situation. So it's like, I think that right now it's just a skill issue. Like type advantage is still going to be a thing where it's like at the end of the day, you're going to want to use a fire type Pokemon against a grass type Pokemon. That's just it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Don't disagree with that. But like coming back to like an only Pikachu run, like you're right. You could theoretically outplay the whole game if you are just good and think strategically about what you're doing.
That'd be so sick. I need it.
It would be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like that idea. That's good.
We haven't talked about
Mega Battles look great.
Oh yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mega Battles. You got thoughts on that?
No,
we can go into you introduce your idea first. We'll circle back to what I got.
Okay.
So when you say Mega Battles, you're specifically talking about like the boss battles, like the
100%. Mm-hmm. I think they look like a more polished version of what Arceus tried to do with the end bosses.
The alphas, aren't they? They're called something else.
Yeah,
they're called something else. I forgot what they're called. But
the noble Pokemon.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, noble Pokemon.
Yeah. They're in a circle, but it looks like they actually are a lot harder to beat. You have to be strategic. You got to Mega Evolve multiple times. They look great. They look intense. They look hard. They look great. I can't wait to give them a go. My only concern around them is, will they be repetitive?
I'm kind of scared of that too. Personally, I'm scared that and this is kind of saying the same thing, but for not a different reason, but from a different angle. They look bullet spongy to me. And I don't necessarily like that.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know if it's going to be like what. I mean, I can't talk about that because you didn't beat the game. But
look, me not beating the game, I'm outside of like spoiler territory. Like,
okay, well, this isn't a direct spoiler unless you're a freak. But in the final boss fight, Tears of the Kingdom, there's a part of it that feels bullet spongy, but when you actually beat it, it's like, oh no, it's not. Like they just it's like kind of smoke and mirrors sort of situation. It's like meant to make you feel like this is insurmountable, and then when you do it, it's like, oh, that's how that works, right? I don't know if that's what's going to end up happening, because I don't think I've seen a full one of this. I just seen bits and pieces, so I don't know if it's structured like that, where the health bar looks like that, and am I just chipping away at that for 10 minutes, or are there ways for me to like min-max and like freaking, can I one hit one of the, like I probably can't one hit it, but like, are there ways to be like, I'm speed running this and my time for this boss is 10 minutes faster than yours or whatever, right? Because I think that will be a thing that will determine how I feel about this, for better or worse. Because right now, I think that's the thing that people are the most positive about. But I'm weary of Pokemon. I'm weary of Pokemon fans' perception of things for obvious reasons, or reasons that should be obvious now. So like, I don't know if that's their favorite thing, because it's the closest thing to what they're used to, the tedium that they're used to, the like ease that they're used to, the like systematic, like, well, if I just do this over and over and over again, then I win kind of thing, like if that's what it is, I think I'm scared. But it could be.
I had different. A feeling it was like level issue, but
Yeah, it's
Looking at that
possible.
Nintendo World preview, the Absol's level 37 and the Rogue Mega Victory Bell's level 34. And it's like it's doing damage, but it's not doing a
It's
lot of
like
damage.
chipping. It's like
Oh,
chipping at it. But
yeah.
another thought that I had is, could this mean raids? Because if this means raids, that's a W. Like if I can battle this with 3 friends, that's pretty sick. I would like that.
I would like that too.
But I don't know because
I
they
was
haven't
just trying
shown
to
it.
see if they showed what it was like with a Mega Evolution battling it, and yup, it does a bit more, but not a heck of a lot more. So yeah, I see your concern about it being bullet spongy.
Yeah, and that's concerning. I think
Yeah,
that because my least favorite part of Arceus was the boss battles. I think the boss battles sucked in that game.
I agree.
And I'm scared that that will happen in this. Which I think and this might be famous last words, but I think there's no way I'm going to dislike this more than I or even as much. I think there's no way that I don't like this game more than Arceus. I'll say that. But I think that if there's any potential for me to dislike aspects of this game so far, from what we've seen, it's the boss battles. So far, that's the thing I'm the
Yeah.
most scared of.
I won't be surprised if this is my least favorite part of the game,
Mhm.
but everything else feels great,
Yeah.
and it's a good step forward for them doing something different.
That's where I'm at.
Because I'm going into this game going, this is going to be a completely different experience, and I need to judge this game on its own merit around what they've tried to do and what they could potentially do going forward.
Right.
And if they hit those marks going, okay, they tried something, it didn't quite work, but if they tweak it like this, it could be so much better.
Right.
And whether or not they had a better way of doing these bigger rogue battles, but they couldn't execute it, or they just felt that it might have been with introducing a brand new battle mechanic that it might have just been a little bit too difficult, or whatever that needs to look like, then cool, it's a step forward somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm okay with that.
Right.
I think there's enough here from the day-night system and how it utilizes the good things about Legends Arceus in terms of the gameplay loop mechanic of catching. Like, you don't have to battle something, you can just go out and catch it, which I think Scarlet and Violet probably would have benefited from some degree, not all degree. And then also really utilizing the battle mechanic with the night system, and being like, there's a reason why you want to go out and battle at nighttime,
Right.
because you want to rank up, you want to get higher, and then obviously the PvP element.
Yeah.
I just think that this Rogue Mega Battles, I don't think I'll enjoy it as much
As everything else.
but everything else will be.
How do you think?
I can see
How do you
myself
think
really
it would
enjoying
change
it.
if it is a raid battle kind of thing? Because like that could very easily become the thing that I do the most if it's right, because it's the thing.
Yeah,
That's how I interact with
Yeah.
Pokemon the most right now. Like, I mean, well, that's not true because me and
True.
Colton do the other series. But like, if I wasn't doing that, most of my time on Pokemon would be us doing Zygarde raids every week. So like,
Yeah,
if they can like capture that, right, and also it's a real time, like the gameplay is fun kind of situation, I'm in. I'm down. And I don't know, maybe I'm hyping myself up for something that might not happen. But so far, I don't know. They've been batting 1,000, because I was excited at the prospect of multiplayer, but I felt like they weren't going to do it, and they did it. So now I'm like, I don't know, man. Multiplayer's already in the game. This looking kind of raid battle-y to me. I don't like. Why not?
Look, if I can do this with three other friends, I should say, because technically I'm the fourth. I'm down.
I'm so.
And I
down.
think you're right. I think this will make this really exciting, and I could see us doing this a lot.
Yeah, and they could do events, and they could like do that kind of
Yeah.
thing where it's like, and
Yeah.
we do the event like even now, and how Pokemon plays and its systems and stuff like that, and us having varying degrees of enjoyment with that. we still all enjoy doing raids. So
Yes.
I think that if the battle system is more fun, we'll be doing raids, even because right now with Scarlet and Violet, we only do the Terra raid events if they're Pokemon that we care about that you can't really get elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it was the first couple of months we were like, yo, we gotta get the freaking 7-star Pikachu.
Mighty Marquand.
Yeah, exactly. But like after like the third one, we were like, I'm not doing that. But then we start like, it's like shiny Rayquaza, you know, we do those, right?
Yeah.
I think that if the
Iron Leaves,
right,
Walking Wake raids were obviously special because that's the only way you could get those
if you did,
Pokemon in the game.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
But I think if they're actively fun, we're going to look for any excuse to do it. It's like, oh, they're giving us a new raid, bet, you know, we're going to do that one.
Yeah.
And you know, bonus if you get a little special Pokemon. On that topic, and this will also go into something that I don't think I wrote down, but I do want to talk about that too, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet shiny distributions. But on that topic, still on ZA, what are your thoughts on this the Mega Evolution thing? Because so far I feel very differently from the entirety of the Pokemon community on this, I think. But you know what I'm talking about with the Mega friggin' Greninja and Mega Delphox.
Oh, yeah. Look, if you only have to play one and you don't have to win, just play one.
So,
like until
a lot of the controversy,
you know,
from what I'm seeing, is people framing it like it's a pay to get kind of thing, where it's like they're putting it behind a paywall, and that like that threw me off when they said that it's a paywall, because I'm like, how's that a paywall? Like, you need to play online to do the online thing. Being a paywall would be like me and Nate tried to get the shinies, which again we'll get back to, and there's something that he brought up where he's like, well, this is kind of the same thing. I had to pay to use gas to get here to get this, you know, and it probably cost him more money for us to do that, right? It cost him more money for us to go to GameStop to attempt to get the freaking shiny Koraidon and Miraidon than it costs for you to play NSO once in a month or whatever, right? Especially
and how much is it for like a month? It's like $3 or something.
I think so. I don't know, because it's so cheap to just get it for a year for 8 people. So like, I don't think about the price of NSO at all. And I understand that that's not how everybody can engage with it. I get that. I have sympathy for that. But I think portending, not pretending, for people, look it up, Google it. I think asserting that like it's this insurmountable thing to be like, I gotta pay for Switch Online to get this Pokemon, and it's not for something that I would be shocked, even if their messaging right now is it's like it's this limit thing and you have to play online and blah blah, if they don't distribute this by other means, especially since it's going to, all these Pokemon they have confirmed are going to be playable in the Pokemon Champions game. So like if you can do it like that, I don't think they want the world where, and maybe they do, I don't know, because in some ways Pokemon already is like that, in the sense that it's like, well, if you didn't play this specific game, then you can't get this Pokemon that has this stat, because you can't get perfect or 0 defense EVs if you don't catch it yourself, and this Pokemon's like locked, you know, that kind of thing, right? They already do that in that sense, which is another like that's another reason why I think that like this outrage is so forced, in my opinion. Because if y'all were happy with Pokemon then, it's weird to me that this is your like your final straw to be like, what? I need to have an online subscription service for the machine that I own that has multiple other online video games, like.
To get 2 of the best restricted Pokemons in VGC, you have to have Sword and Shield DLC.
Yeah. Yes. To get,
that's technically behind a paywall.
Yeah, and so are the legendaries themselves. Every Pokemon in the game is behind a paywall by this logic. You know what I mean? It's just like, Nobody was like, yo, you're putting Mega Beedrill behind a paywall. I gotta buy Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Because it's like, there's to some degree where it's like, well, you can't argue that because like some Pokemon, like you can't battle Pokemon Red and Blue copy with Pokemon Sapphire or whatever, right? But Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and X and Y, they can still battle. So the fact that they could do that and you couldn't catch the legendaries in your game without buying, I mean, not legendary, the megas in your game without buying that other one. It's like, where was outrage then? And what? And even if it's like people trying to assert that it's this Goomba fallacy thing that people make up, then why aren't you retroactively complaining about that? Why aren't you being like, first they did this and now they're blah, blah, blah. People are presenting this as this is like the worst thing that Pokemon Company has ever done. It's just like, it's so hypocritical to me, I think. Obviously part of that is influenced by the fact that I'm not a Pokemon fan in the sense that I just play Pokemon. I play everything. Yeah. So I was going to have Switch Online anyway. Even if I wasn't a Nintendo creator, I would still have Switch Online because I play Super Smash Brothers. I play freaking the Splatoon. I play freaking ARMS. I play, there's so many online video games that need Nintendo Switch Online. So,
and I think Nintendo Switch Online has one of the best values for money.
I agree. And on top of that, and this is something I brought up to Lee, it's like you don't even need to pay for Switch Online because as far as I'm aware, unless they stop doing this out of nowhere, you can get 7-day free trials by redeeming silver points. And it's not like a high number. You don't gotta get like freaking 2,000 silver points. They're like 500 silver points or something like that for a 7-day free trial.
I did not know that.
You never do that? But yeah, you can.
No, I did not know that.
You can get 7-day free trials, and there's a decent amount of times where Nintendo will offer the like free weekends and like that kind of thing. They bundle Switch Online with different game releases and like all sorts of stuff. Who knows? Maybe they even do that with this game at certain retailers or whatever. Who knows? But I don't know. I just think that it's just like it's forced. It's forced. I think that to cater to the specific gamer that only plays Pokemon and does not have Switch Online because they only play Pokemon. And I don't even know, because like, again, it's never been something that I thought about. I don't know if you need Switch Online to do regular raids or trainer battles online or what. I don't know if you need Switch Online. You need Switch Online to do like Union Circles? Question mark.
I assume so.
That's just something I don't know. So it's like, well, if they required you to do it before, like it sounds like, because I looked this up, it sounds like you could do raids without Switch Online before. So like you could do like the freaking shiny treasure event without Switch Online.
So I just did a quick Google. According to Google AI, you need Nintendo Switch Online membership to play in a Union Circle with players online.
Okay. So, I don't know.
Locally, no.
There's a decent amount of stuff, like, by that logic, right? And I guess, like, technically, you could, which, I don't know, Pokemon fans, they're inconsistent with this argument, I think. Because some Pokemon fans argue that like trade exclusives or version exclusives are pay to win kind of situations where it's like you just get some friends. But in this scenario, you need Switch Online to get Palafin. You can't get Palafin unless you go in a Union Circle. So it's like, well, you can get there's like raids.
Unless you have friends locally.
Yeah, that was what I was saying exactly. That's why I brought up the version exclusive thing, because like if you have somebody locally, then you could get Palafin by doing a Union Circle locally. But outside of that, you need to go online to get Palafin. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a good point,
man. Didn't think about that. I got 20 minutes. So do you want to talk about the Legendaries distribution?
Yeah. So how are they doing that in Narnia? Do you have
just as poorly as the rest of the world? Apparently.
So is it also EB Games or whatever?
Yep. Okay. I mean, to my I couldn't go and get them on the day, but I went and after hearing the discourse, I actually went to an EB Games just down the road from work yesterday, and I talked to them about how the distribution went. Because I was intrigued to know. They got 100 codes.
I heard that, and this was an internet thing. So already that's been disproven just based off of what you said. But the internet was saying that every GameStop got 50 codes, which is crazy. 100 codes is also not enough. But
yeah, that is it.
But yeah.
They're like, that's ridiculous. They went within like the first couple hours, and I was like, I'm not surprised. And I was like, do you think you're going to get any more? And he's like, I have no idea.
I'm positive that they weren't like every consumer, like you got to show me a copy of a game, or you like it's limited to one kind of thing. Because like I could see them being like, well, if you have both versions, then you can get two, right? Yeah. But knowing GameStop, they saw people walk in and people asked, like, can I get like 5? And they're like, oh yeah, fine. And they give them 5. And then the next person came, yo, can I get like 3? You know, and they run out because of that. Like, you know what? I'm getting some for my brother and my friend and my sister and my son. And then they just like, and then people are scalping them right now.
Because I mean, I was like, my plan was to take Lockie with me. Mm-hmm. Because he also owns the game and would want them. Like, right. I've been making sure that he gets the shiny treasure ruins. Mm-hmm. And even did some raids with him. So at least he contributed.
You shouldn't have let him.
And that was true. And so I was like, well, there's like, one, I don't want to tell him that we're going to get it in case we turn up one on the day of release and we don't get it. Because there's always that possibility. There was so many. I wasn't sure. Like they said, this part of the world, and I was like, well, I don't really know if I believe it, kind of thing. So I was already skeptical around whether or not they would kind of get them on time. And then I was also skeptical of the fact that, like, will they actually have enough?
Right.
And I was so right. Like it was. Trying to get my kid out of the house is a pain in the ass. He is a homebody. He is me as a child. I fully get it. Like I fully understand. Like, do I really want to go to the mall to then just go grab a code to then go home? That seems like a lot of effort. I'll just stay home. Like that's his mindset because that's my mindset. Like I want the code, so right. I'll go. Uh-huh. But trying to convince an 8-year-old child to do that, absolutely not. It's just not gonna happen.
I went with Nate to 3 different GameStops. He hit me up because I wasn't even thinking about it. I'm gonna keep it real. Usually, like, and it wouldn't happen this time clearly, but usually I got privilege. Usually people hit me up and they're like, "Oh, you need an extra code?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, fine." I wasn't even thinking about this. Like that used to be Bob when he worked in the city. He'd be like, "I got this Smart Shadow code. You want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But
yes, sir.
So I wasn't even thinking about it. But Nate hit me up. He was like, "Oh, you want to go to GameStop on Friday?" And I was like, "I'm down." So we went to the 3 different GameStop. The first GameStop, after they didn't have it at my GameStop, I was like, "We're cooked. It's GG's." Because usually my GameStop is pretty good at like, because it's not that big. It's not a big GameStop. Not a lot of people go to it. So I'm never really worried about stuff like that. Like with the Switch 2, I was like the 25th person in line or something like that, and I had no concern with getting the Switch 2. The only thing that I probably would like, the only things that are touch and go are like smaller, more niche products. Like it might have been scary if with the camera, the Switch 2 camera or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
They only got 2 of those. But everything else, they usually get more than enough at that GameStop. So after they didn't have any, I was like, it's GG's. We're done. It's over. It's over. Because every other GameStop in the general vicinity is a more popular GameStop. So we went to all of them and I was like, yeah, nah, we over. It's done. It's done. We did have to try. It was worth the attempt. And hopefully they do a make good, and either they distribute them through mystery gifts or they do a replan or whatever.
Surely.
And I know like some regions, they just do it through the receipt. Like they just like literally print off codes like through the transaction, which I mean technically it's not a transaction. Yeah, not paying for it. But they print off codes as you request them. It's not like there's a limited amount of shiny Koraidon and Miraidon. They're code. So like,
yeah, they are literally code.
you could just,
If I want one right now, I can make one happen.
that is true. You could do that. So,
But I would rather have a legitimate one.
yeah.
So Pokemon Company, give me a legitimate one.
Yeah,
like,
get it together.
There's no reason why I should not be able to get one.
Yeah, they fumbled crazy on that. It's unfortunate, but hopefully they do make good. I don't see why they wouldn't. I think if anybody feels like they shouldn't, it's GameStop. But like if they do it through GameStop again, I don't know why they would object to it either. You know what I mean? Like, because right now, my assumption is they got some kind of X amount of years deal, or maybe they renew it every time there's a Pokemon game where it's like, you give us money and we'll do these distributions through you. Right? That's my assumption of how this operates. Otherwise, they would just do what they do in some other regions where you just go on the game and blah, 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 you know. So, I don't know. Hopefully.
Why was it not a mystery gift? I have no idea.
Because
Like,
GameStop,
You've just done it with the Treasure of Ruins.
you can make more money.
Or at least do what you said. Like, it's like the printed on a receipt kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. That's what
That
I
makes
think.
sense.
That's what I think the solution might end up being, is that they either give them a whole bunch of codes, or they do the thing internationally where they print it off the receipt or whatever. But ideally,
Like, generate code, print it off.
ideally they make it a mystery gift. That's what the dream is, because I too don't want to go into GameStop if I don't gotta. But you know, if they just give more codes, then I'm down for that too. But
They gotta fix it.
they gotta fix it. I need my
Yeah.
shinies. Give them to me. But that's all I had. I don't
Like
know
good
if you got any-
shinies, though. Like,
got
that's the
any-
thing. Like, good
They are good
shinies.
shinies. They're one of the very few Violet exclusive good shinies, and the Scarlet one is a W, like most of the other ones.
Yes.
Well, actually, that's not
Yes.
true. I like the Violet shine. I like the concept of the Violet shinies. I just don't like the Violet Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
they made lemonade out of lemons on that. It was like, okay, everybody's Mecha Frieza, but like these ones are like, you know, chrome. Everything's chrome. It was pretty cool.
Chrome. Let's insert SpongeBob meme here.
Exactly. But everybody, like, comment,
Yeah.
subscribe. If you're watching the video version, go to Mega Man's Twitch. It's on the screen. If you're not watching the video version, go to the show notes or whatever, and the link to his Twitch will be there. Like, comment, subscribe, rate on the podcast services. I don't think I'm allowed to tell you what rating, but you know. Okay, goodbye.
Do it.